Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Monday morning motivation. We'll see you in a few minutes. Come on in the room, tell a friend. Even if you missed the show this morning, you can always go back and check it out. But just want to give you a little Monday morning motivation. So we'll be right back after these commercials.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
It'd be nice if I put myself on the camera, right? Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings, everyone. Happy Monday morning. I hope y'all up. Look, roll over on your side, tune in, whatever you got to do. This is just to give us some Monday morning motivation. And we are working on these 6 a.m. basically coffee talk type shows right here on the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. We got one that we're working on Tuesday mornings and Wednesday mornings. And I'm toying whether or not we're going to keep Thursday night or move Thursday to 6 a.m. Y'all let me know what you think. We got a new series this week. Hopefully you all saw the clip. It's about making big decisions. So we're going to start Thursday night at 7 p.m. talking about in business the importance of making big decisions. You know how you probably really need to fire somebody, but you really don't want to, or you really need to do something in your business, but you just ain't doing it because it may cost you a little extra money, you're a little scared. And then we're going to move in on Friday and Saturday on those Coffee Talk series at 6 a.m. And we're going to talk about you and I and those big decisions that we know we need to make, whether they're health decisions or decisions that affect our health, our relationship, our career, whether we need to move, whatever we need to do. We're going to talk about the art, the science, the mathematics, and the emotions behind making big decisions. And most of us are suffering right now to this very day because we got big decisions that we really need to make that we just ain't making. We don't have the courage to make. So I want to talk about that. That's this week. It's free, so the seats fill up fast. So make sure you like and subscribe today. You don't got to pay nothing. Just got to give a little small love offering. Okay, family. Here's the other thing. Hope y'all got y'all some coffee this morning. So Monday, Sajdah's Monday morning motivation. I see some beautiful people in the chat. I see Brother Jamil Muhammad, one of my favorite student ministers. I see, let's see, Bro Aunt D, that's probably Sister Karima. That's what I'm going to say. But it could be Brother Anthony too. They might be watching together. And my mom is in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Y'all give Mom a shout out. I see Brother Jamil already did. She's Von Marie. I had to bring Mom up because Mom is the real motivation for Monday morning motivations. Mom, I got to put a little bit of your business out here. You know, y'all know how as Black people, we don't talk about our family and parents because we leave our legacy behind because they don't really want their business out there. And so we be tasteful about their business, but we got to put this legacy out here. You know, in the 70s, my mom had a show on television called The Hiring Line. And she used to come on TV with her little afro and she was always sharp and all of that. And I just remember standing in my grandmother's living room, looking at the big council television and watching Mom getting people jobs. And she was working for the Urban League at that time. And if anybody in Omaha, the Omaha Urban League has footage of my mom on the hiring line, which I have not been able to find. I know it's probably reel to reel. Please get it to me because I need that in my life. But yeah, so Mom was on the hiring line. And even many of her friends and relatives that are now retiring from jobs are retiring from jobs that she got them through Urban League programs. We won't put their business out here, but they know who they are. But yeah, so Mom was on the hiring line and she would come on and talk about job openings and getting a job. But Mom hated Mondays. She would always call in on Monday. She didn't want to go to work on Monday. Part of it is because my mother is the kind of person, she's a very free spirit and a very strong-willed person, and she don't like nobody telling her what to do. She don't like nobody telling her what to do. She don't like nobody telling her what she can't do. And so it was just one of those things. She didn't like Monday. And as a little girl, I used to always think, what if it was something that really motivated her She said they still owe me. Yeah, they do owe you, Mom. Let's get that footage so we can, at least maybe we could show it on here and we can monetize or something, figure out how to get you paid today. But yeah, her show was called The Hiring Line. But anyway, I always thought, what if it was something that, it's Brother Anthony up helping these children get motivated to get ready for school. Okay, Brother Anthony, put him on the speaker. I always said, what if Mom had something that would motivate her? And I know she had a reason, which is what I want to talk about today. Her reason, hey, Alex, her reason for getting up in the morning is what kept her going. And this is important for all of us to really think about, is what is our reason? Many of the entrepreneurs, you all contact me and you all say, I need coaching on emotional intelligence. I need coaching on my money psychology. I need coaching to build my business, but I'm just not motivated. I'm not motivated to do the things I know I need to do. Why am I not motivated? I'm not motivated because maybe my reason isn't big enough. Maybe my reason isn't big enough. And so as we're getting up, we're getting the children up, Brother Anthony, this morning to go to school, we need to be talking to them about their reason. And I'm gonna give you a little hack that I played on myself growing up. My father always talked to me, you all know this, about being in business. And when I start to dissect my life, I see all this business always around me. My mom with her television show, The Hiring Line, Dad with his businesses, and I would go to work with them and things like that. But my motivation was that when I was in school, I always thought school was my business. And so I even carried like a little briefcase. I remember going up in the attic, and my father had a briefcase up there, and I would carry the briefcase. Everybody was carrying backpacks. I would carry a briefcase to work because in my brain, I wanted to pretend like I was going to the office. And so school was my office. And my motivation was that I was learning so that I could become a business person. That was my motivation all throughout life. I loved world history. I literally am working on right now a show that covers world economies because I have a lot of international friends, and all we text and talk a lot about economics around the world, currency, BRICS, inflation, what's going on, and what are some of the gross national products of different countries and things like that. We talk about that. And so as I'm developing this world economics show, I'm thinking about, it's interesting. I've been loving world history my whole life. I love fusion restaurants that fuse different cultures together. I love Vietnamese and French cuisine. I love Mexican and soul food. I just love the fusion of the cultures. And so that I used as my reason for getting up. This is what motivated me on Monday, was because I had a reason. What motivates me today is because I have so much inside of me. I get all these downloads from the universe and I go, you know what? Let me share it. It can't be just for me. I love watching somebody have a problem in their business and then being able to help them solve it. I love helping someone go from, man, I went through a divorce. I had a health scare. I lost my income. I was challenged, but now I'm making $1 million, or maybe now I'm making $150,000. But it's all about giving back and helping and supporting that next person and just creating that circle in that universe. So when you're getting up this morning and you're saying, I hate this job. I don't want to go to this job. I don't want to even get up in the morning. I don't like these people. I can't stand my supervisor. And so then you're digging in deep on who that person is. I want you to think about, what is your reason for getting up and doing what you do? Is it your children? Is it because you want to create generational wealth? Are you thinking about what you're going to pass on to your children? Is it legacy? Is it because your parents? Yes, La Colonial, which is one of my favorite restaurants, Bro Aunt D, Vietnamese, French fusion restaurants. It's one of my favorite fusion restaurants. Is it your personal legacy? Are you thinking about what your ancestors did, what your parents did, what you could do that extends their gift? Do you just wake up and do something and you don't know why you're doing it? You know, you're just motivated to do it. What is your reason? You need to create a reason in your head. That's going to prevent you from going off and snapping and doing something crazy. It should prevent you from doing something other than yourself. Tay Durrell says it's generational wealth for him. He says, Assalamu alaikum. May Allah continue to bless you for your show. It's very inspiring. Thank you. So what is it? What is driving you? What is moving you? Is it because you know you have a lot to give and you want to be able to use the money that you're earning on your job to be able to support something else that you're doing? What is your motivation? Is it your children? Is it your parents? Is it yourself? Have a motivation. And that motivation, my father taught me this, needs to be beyond just, I got to pay my bills. It needs to be bigger than that. Because a lot of times we go through stuff, right? And you got to have a reason for getting up. Sometimes we get depressed because we lose our reason. I've gone through that where I've just been depressed. Like I can't do this anymore, or I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something else. So then I had to find a reason. Well, okay, if I do this well and I master where I am now, that's going to set the stage for where I'm going in the future. Let me say that again. If you master where you are now, and it's hard, I know sometimes you just got to accept your situation. Accepting it doesn't mean that you're going to allow it to remain the same and impact you for the rest of your life, but you got to accept it. If you're sick, you got to accept it right now. If you're in a position that you don't like, you just got to accept it right now. And once you make peace with where you are right now and you understand where you are, think of it like a GPS. Because when you go, you know, when you're typing in your GPS, it has to know where you are right now in order to get you where you're going. You can't tell the GPS to get you to 22nd Street and it doesn't know where you are. It can't give you the roadmap, right? So what you want to do is make peace, come to terms, raise your awareness about exactly where you are right now. Don't lie to yourself. Don't make it up. Just be real. Be real. Where am I right now? What is my situation right now? And then watch the universe begin to give you the solutions to get you to the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step. So once you raise that awareness, once you come to terms with where you are right now, then guess what? Now you can start to create reasons. So if you were in one of my coaching sessions, we would talk about a particular problem. You may have a restaurant that's not generating customers, or you may have a chef that's not, I was dealing with this with a client last week who had a chef that wasn't paying attention to costs. They're just spending money. And my friend's looking at the bottom line and going, man, I'm not making any money. I can't get this man to understand this. So we had to go, all right, what is the current situation? Let's come to terms with it. Let's be aware with it. And let's let that settle in our consciousness. One thing I learned as a business consultant, that there's no problem that you can't solve if you start at that point. Then we started writing down reasons and start coming up with reasons. Once we start coming up with reasons as to why we need to fix this problem, or why we need to get up on Monday mornings, or why we have to do whatever it is that we need to do, now we can then begin to develop our strategy. We can then begin to figure it out. And let me tell you, it works like a charm. So Monday morning motivations is simply raise your awareness. Where am I? Where am I right now? What is my situation? Straight up. See, because awareness is the mother of change. Once you're aware, your subconscious mind is going to go to work, and your subconscious mind has something now to focus on. So once you line up that subconscious mind with the conscious mind, now you're going along and you can find your path. Brother Tedderell said, I was talking to Brother Kamal about how you are putting that fire back in me. I started my company, Everlasting Spring Water, back up. You are very, very inspiring. Oh, shout out to Brother Kamal. Brother Kamal and Brother Wazir were my very first bosses in the Nation of Islam. So I'm really, really endeared to both of them, and Brother Wazir, who has made his transition. May Allah be pleased with him. All right. So going back to what I was saying, where are you? Understand exactly where you are. What is your awareness? If you got 10 children, you got 10 children. You can't be out here acting like you ain't got 10 children and then trying to sit down with me and put a plan together based on something you saw somebody else do that's single. No, you got 10 children. So let's raise your consciousness and awareness around that. 10 children. All right, boom. What's our reason for getting up? Somebody on here said, oh, shout out to Imani's Original Bean Pies and Fine Foods. Welcome, sis. She says, I'm happy to hear about the water. Yes, yes. Anyway, going back to that, awareness and a reason. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat, because that is my main message this morning on Monday. A lot of times you guys come to me and you say, I'm trying to figure out something that I can do authentically. You all know how much stuff that I do and how many shows and talks and speeches I come up with that are just based on my personal life experiences. I don't teach anything that I don't have experience with. So I'm not a theory person. I'm a practical person. I'm that coach, developer, consultant with receipts. Okay. So hit the super chat down there. Give a love offering. You can go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. We don't charge for this motivation on here. You just got to give a love offering. All I say is that the seats fill up fast, so make sure you like and subscribe. But anyway, I want to also, before we go, because Monday morning motivations, we're not going to go too long. Let me read something to you from our lessons. So in the Nation of Islam, we have a series of lessons and teachings and actual facts that we call supreme wisdom. And that supreme wisdom is designed to do a number of different things. But what it really is designed to do is to hone in on the programming that has been embedded into us as kidnapped victims who came over here as victims of slavery, who have been programmed and through that kidnapping to believe that we are less than ourselves or less than who we really are. And for those of you who don't know our community, you wouldn't know that permeates throughout our community, that we don't know who we are. Many of us don't know our history. Many of us couldn't even tell you who our grandparents are, maybe some of us, but our great grandparents, because we were moved around so much. So most of us maybe can go back 1 or 2 generations. And in losing that history, we've lost so much of ourselves. And in losing so much of ourselves, we don't have motivation to start businesses. Everything becomes very animalistic, very uncivilized. And we don't even understand the planet that we live on. And so in this supreme wisdom, it is designed to reprogram us and to get us to thinking in a different way, to living in a different way, even down to our health. It speaks very specifically, if we understand, about our health conditions. In the African American community, we lose over 100,000 people a year to cardiovascular related diseases. And then you go, okay, what does that have to do with the supreme wisdom? Well, it has everything. Thank you, Brother Jamil. It has everything to do with, thank you, Brother Jamil. He said, I'm a witness, teach. It has everything to do with what's in the supreme wisdom, because it gives us lessons about breathing and not being able to walk up the block. But why is it that we lose over 100,000 people plus a year? And that's even now more with COVID. I'm going to talk about that for a minute. Because there's risk factors associated with cardiovascular disease that in our community we're most susceptible to. Because we were not allowed to eat healthy foods for hundreds of years. And so we began to develop within our DNA, within the cellular structure of our body, this diseased state, a weakened state of being that to this day still impacts us. And so we have to almost swing and go overboard when it comes to taking care of our body, taking care of our spirituality, and eating properly, because we were given foods to eat that were the throwaway foods or the garbage. And what we did was we just made a cuisine out of it, but we were given garbage to eat. It's a sad state. So bringing this down to modern times, why are we losing over 100,000 people per year to cardiovascular disease in our community? Why is that the pandemic before the pandemic? Why has COVID exacerbated that level of disease progress? Why are we seen as multi-million-dollar patients? Here's the risk factors. Being overweight. Many of us are overweight because of stress. Our hormones are out of balance. We're constantly in fight or flight. Okay? So when you're always in fight or flight, when you're always afraid, you're always looking over your shoulder, you're always worried, you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, you don't know if you're going to get fired, you don't know if you're going to get beat up or killed by the police, you send your children out, you don't know if they're going to come back again, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you don't know if the police is going to kill them. We deal with all these fears all the time. So we're always in fight or flight. What happens to your body when you go into fight or flight? Well, your blood redirects itself from your organs and goes to your muscles, because it says, we got to get ready to get out of here. We got to be able to jump. We got to be able to run. We develop that quick twitch to our muscles. Okay? Because we got to get out of here. But what's happening? Our organs are suffering, because when the blood is redirecting from the kidneys, from the liver to the muscles, now that organ begins to go into atrophy. Fight or flight is not a state of mind that you're designed to live in on a consistent basis. It should only be when you're in danger. But when you live in a world the way we've lived in for the past 400 and something years, we're always in fear. And so we have lessons and teachings and life repair activities that we have to make sure that we focus on in order to heal ourselves and take ourselves to that next level. Okay. So being overweight, what that does is when we stay in fight or flight, our body absorbs food differently. Okay. That's a leading factor to cardiovascular disease. So in our lessons, we're taught to fast, eat one meal a day, which they now call intermittent fasting. But that was introduced to the Black community in the 1930s by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and taught and practiced. And there were different foods that we were told to stay away from. So then there's diabetes. Okay. Diabetes is rampant in our community. High blood pressure. High blood pressure is rampant in our community. There's high cholesterol. High cholesterol is rampant in our community. There is smoking. When I owned and built the vascular hospital in Maryland, 90% of our patients smoked. Okay. So if you already have a weakened state of being, and then on top of that, you smoke, you're going to really have a problem. Okay. So all of these risk factors, the spiritual risk factors, the physical risk factors, the knowledge of self, all of these risk factors being accumulated have been addressed in a certain way by these teachings. And so there's a lot of mental strategy teaching. And so I want to just read, and I'm going to leave you with this because it's a problem that you have to ponder on. And it's from the problem book, and it's problem number 30. Okay. So I want you to just listen to this. I'm going to read it twice, but this is what I'm going to leave you with. Problem number 30 says, the uncle of Mr. W.D. Farrar lives in the wilderness of North America. So that is how we have described living here in North America. That is like a wilderness, and us in essence being treated like animals. But what we're taught is not to respond like animals, but to be an example of civilized behavior, be an example of how high level and high vibrational people are supposed to function, and not become predators. We're not taught to, harm people, but we're taught to really change the world through our civilized thinking, through the high vibration of our minds. Okay. So it says, the uncle of Mr. W.D. Farrar lives in the wilderness of North America, surrounded and robbed completely by the caveman. Therefore, he has no knowledge of his own or anyone else's. But this is the part I want you to hone into. Our minds travel 24 billion miles per second, which is considered the average speed of thought per second. 24 billion miles per second, which is the average speed of thought per second. Now, let me stop right there. If in 1 second you can focus on something and your mind will travel, and traveling means movement. It's like laser focus. If you focus on something for 1 second and it can go at the force of 24 billion miles, then you can do anything. See, what you focus on begins to manifest. What you focus on begins to change. All you need is a few seconds. Give me 10 seconds to focus on your reason for getting up this morning. Give me 5 seconds for that focus. Give me 5 seconds at several points in time throughout the day. But I want you to remember this. If your mind travels at the force of 24 billion miles per second, then you got to be mindful of what you're putting in your mind. So if you're beating yourself up, if you're saying, oh, I'm fat, oh, I can't do this, oh, I'm not successful, or, oh, let me scam somebody, let me lie, and you're doing all of this all day long, then those are the electromagnetic fields that you're sending out into the universe, and that is what is coming right back to you. So why not take those seconds where you can go 24 billion miles, focus on what you want, focus on being civilized, focus on being moral, focus on being right and exact, focus on loving yourself, focus on taking care of yourself, focus on loving others, focus on putting good energy out into the world and out into the universe. When we do that, trust me, there is nothing that we cannot do. 24 billion miles per second. I want you to remember that. When you're working on your businesses, I see a lot of you in the chat, you putting names and stuff up in here, drawing business people and stuff like that in here. Guess what? When you focus on your business, I want you thinking about that 24 billion miles per second. I had a client, I'll say this one last thing before we go. I had a client that was telling me how she hated her employees, And I said, how much time do you spend thinking about how much you hate your employees? She said, all day, every time I see them. I said, why do you hate them? She said, because I don't feel like they do what they're supposed to do. They're raggedy. She said, they don't listen. I said, do you know that your mind travels at the rate of 24 billion miles per second? Do you know the force and power of negativity that you're sending to your employees every time you look at them and you think that? And then you come to me and say, my business is not successful. Well, I wonder why. Duh. So that's what I want us thinking on. Look, we live in a world, we got people spending billions of dollars every day to get our attention. What do they want? They want our attention. They want our dollar. They want our souls. They want our humanity. But I want you all to give it a shot. And throughout the course of your day, think about your reason for doing what you're doing. Think about your love. Think about your desires. Think about what it is that you want. And remember that your mind travels at the rate of 24 billion miles per second. And you can either use that force to create what you want, or you can use that force to create what somebody else wants, or you can use that force to stay in the negative and depressed state that you're in. Many of us wonder why we're on a hamster wheel. It's because at 24 billion miles per second, if you're thinking negatively, if you're gossiping about people, if you're hurting people, if you are abusing people, if you're lying to people, if you're mishandling people, if you're doing all this negative stuff all day long in your mind. So you can present like you're so beautiful and you're so lovely and you're so this or that, but guess what? If in your brain you thinking negatively, 24 billion miles per second, and that brain at the force of 24 billion miles per second is emitting electromagnetic rays out into the universe, and guess what's coming right back to you? All right, y'all. I hope that was good for Monday morning motivation. I see some people in here. I see Brother Hoyle. Thank you for chiming in. I see, okay, of course, Brother Jamil is here. He said they can't have our souls nor our humanity. And you know what, Brother Jamil? What's happening out here in the world is that many of us are trading our humanity for dollars because we don't have faith. We don't have faith that we're going to make the money. We don't have faith that we're going to do well. We don't have faith that there is goodness out here. We don't have a good circle of people. So we just go, you know what? I'm just going to trade in my humanity. And humanities are for sale today. Okay. And we gotta take back our soul. Just because you want a contract, whether it's entertainment, athletic, or whatever, don't go trade your soul for it. Your brain travels at the rate of 24 billion miles per second. You can create your reality. Okay, who else we got on here? We got Brother, Sister Aziz, Sister Alicia here would love to help with distribution and aquifer locations. Okay, we're talking about Brothers Water. Thank you all. Thank you all very much for being on here. Also, one other thing, don't forget this week, we're going to be talking about making big decisions and the art of problem solving. So we're going to break down, especially for our businesses, this is very critical. We're going to break down the mathematical process of making decisions. We're going to break down the emotional process of making decisions. And we're going to just go through how powerful it is when you finally do make those big decisions. Because a lot of times in our businesses, we need to make decisions that we just don't make because we're afraid. And so we're sitting there with the business. And some of us, we don't even start the business because really at the end of the day, we just scared to start it. Okay. All right, y'all. You sitting in a seat, give a love offering, hit the super chat or go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. We give away the game because the services we charge for. And I appreciate you all for jumping on here. Hit the like and subscribe, hit the notification button. All right. So that you can be notified when we go live and when we post something else out here. This is not popular content to the algorithm. It's new content. So I need you all to make it go viral. So you got to tell a friend to tell a friend. Okay, because the algorithm is going to say, I don't know about that. You're teaching people to not go with the advertising. But you know what? You just don't get to have my mind. That mind, and he said that's the average rate of 24 billion miles per second. What happens when we get ourselves together? How much further can we travel? All right, family, love you all very much. See you all this week. Have a beautiful Monday. And do not forget that your mind travels at the rate of 24 billion miles per hour. You got to start with awareness of where you are. You got to start with accepting where you are. And then you start to create your reasons. And then you focus on the reasons. And that's why it's easier for you to put one step in front of the other and climb your way up out of a depressed state. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all.